secrets and symbols of rock and roll. With Brad and Colby Congress. Yes, the Brad and Colby Congress.
That's right.
And here they come.
One and only.
Well, I don't know if Colby's coming, but here comes Brad. We'll see. Ding dong. Come in. Brad.
Hey.
Don't forget, virtual camera.
Yeah, one of these days I'll get it.
That's
All
okay.
right.
Look at you. Hey.
I'm like a semi-pro.
That's okay.
Hey, it's getting better.
Yeah, it's getting better all the time. It looks good. It sounds good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I got a new microphone, which makes me and everyone else who's listening pleased.
Well, it's all about the upgrade.
That's right.
We had to do the same thing.
I believe me, I did the same thing. I was using the mic in the computer, and then I had
to go
another.
out and get a new computer.
Yeah, I had
Got a new Mac.
I had to go out and get a new Mac because I just didn't like the way we were broadcasting. And now I got to go out and find a new network because Facebook only broadcasts at 720p, which is like, old television. But for the time being, we're happy to be here with everybody.
And we're grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're grateful for what we do have rather than bitching about what we don't have.
No, we're grateful we're here. Look what I found.
Hey, look who it is!
Hola!
Hola!
How are you guys?
Better than most.
Hey, I'll take it.
Me too. No, we're doing good. We were just talking about our gardening adventures, and it's fun. We're having a nice time.
Well, you guys know how gorgeous it was today.
Yeah, you guys
Oh
know
my
how.
gosh.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I actually went for a bike ride. It was amazing.
Yeah, we did some gardening.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
We need Colby closer to the mic though, because she's.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Hang on. Okay, we're like a semi-non-professional professional studio now.
You know
Well,
what?
it's-
Next week you'll be closer to the mic.
Yeah, just. You know what? I think, to be honest with you guys, I think half the fun of what we do is the spontaneity and discord of it. It's not like we've got, well, we do have NBC producing the show, but
Right.
it's just meant to be fun. And Lori and I have been doing this, well, I've been doing it for quite a while, and I finally convinced my bride to join me because I'm telling stories to nobody, and I'm not getting any reaction, and I feel like an idiot. I'm telling like the funny.
I laugh at all the stories anyway.
Yeah, because even though she's heard them.
Well, now you know how all the late night guys felt during the beginning of COVID when they were doing the show out of their home and there was no one to laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and
Same thing.
it's exactly the same thing. I would see Fallon at home and all these guys, and it's not it's not easy. I mean, what they do in general, just being a talk show host, which I guess this sort of is on the outskirts of that.
Yeah. On the outskirts.
It's not easy because you wonder, you ask yourself, Jimmy Fallon's always laughing. He's not in a bad mood. He didn't, he didn't get a bad croissant for breakfast. Come on, what's going on?
He's got to turn that button on.
Yeah, but you got to hit the switch and you got to be in the groove, and it's
that from being on stage.
Yeah, I know that from being on stage, and I remember many nights driving to gigs with a toothache or something, and then you get on stage and it's
He played the night he had his wisdom.
Yeah, I played. That was interesting. The Rascals, right? Gene Cornish and those guys. Gene's an old friend, and Gene and Dino had a band called Bulldog.
The drummer for
and
the Rascals.
The drummer for the Rascals after they left the Rascals, and we opened for them at Zero's, which is in Glen Cove, exit 39 off the Long Island Expressway. And I had not one but two wisdom teeth pulled out that day.
Boy,
And so that what they say about how can you tell?
that's a nightmare.
How can you tell if the drum stage is level? Drool comes out of both sides of the drummer's mouth. Well, in this case, it was blood, and
He had a bucket that he was
I had
spitting in.
what it was you remember the Sabrett hot dog stand,
No,
those
they
things?
didn't have that. They're from down here.
Oh,
There was not some.
Yeah, we're from down here. We don't have hot dog stands.
That was New York.
well, okay. Anyway, it was a yellow and blue.
They have them in Publix now.
I took
think.
one of the guy's stainless steel hot dog things so that I could spit in it because it was. I didn't give it back to him, but it was just. I'm singing, and every time I open my mouth, I could feel the stitches pulling. It was, but
If I had a sore throat, I would have stayed home.
Yeah, right? I mean,
Opposite.
It's
I have never canceled a gig in my life, and I
That's
think
because it's tough to be a rock band without a drummer.
Right.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
well, they tried it once, didn't work out so good for them, but.
Your band.
Rat
Right,
Race,
right,
yeah,
right.
Rat
It was
Race.
a drum machine.
The only gig that I ever missed was when I got into the car thing that I told you about.
Yeah.
And the only reason I missed the gig is because they wouldn't let me go.
He's in
And
the hospital in ICU.
yeah, I'm in the hospital and whatever. But
that's his life.
man,
Of a rock and roll guy.
Exactly.
so that is
And tonight's special, it's the 5th show of ours.
oh.
And we're going to be doing the Pentagram,
Oh, the
aka Pentacle. We're going to talk about the differences and what it's all about tonight.
AKA what?
The Pentacle.
Let's get
Oh.
started. I'm
Now,
ready.
is it the same as is the star that's on the flag? Is that a pentagram? Is it
So a
pentagram?
pentagram, here, let's just talk math for a second.
Okay.
A pentagram is nothing more than a 5-point-sided, unit. And it can be, one of a million different things. It doesn't have to have a meaning. It's just a pentagram, just like a hexagram.
Like the Pentagon?
Like the Pentagon.
Oh, well.
Precisely.
Wow.
Now,
Very astute.
as we all know, people love to spindle the stories of theorism. And we may go into touch of that tonight, but I really want to talk about where this all started, what the meaning is, and what's it all about. I love it.
Who is that?
Oh, it's when they send me stars.
I love
Oh,
it.
that's very funny, right? We're talking about star here. I'll show you. You see all the little stars?
Right.
Wow, that's a lot of stars.
Yeah. The
So,
viewers and stars.
So those are stars. How
Yeah.
appropriate. Thank you, Kitty.
Thank you.
so when I was like 12 years old, I saw this album. Hold on.
Technical difficult.
I saw this lovely album.
Oh wow, Slayer, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, when you're like 12 or 13 years old and all of your neighbors and all of your friends tell you, you really shouldn't be dealing with this stuff. This is like devil work. And, you read some of the lyrics, they're absolutely frightening. And it immediately brings, we'll call it a deep image. And I was scared so much about some of this stuff that was being taught, I had to learn more about it.
Exactly.
So the first thing I did is I'm like, what the hell is that beast looking thing? And why is it always a goat with this, with the devil thing? I don't get it.
Yeah.
So I found this image that kind of made some sense. That is the same image, but only this one was drawn in 1856.
Wow.
Well, because I was going to say I know her.
Right.
Sorry for you.
That's right. Well, it's actually, the name of this creature is, well, some would call it the devil, but actually the name that was given to it, this creature, was called Bamofet. Oh, thank you. In stereo here. Bamofet.
Bamofet?
Bamofet.
And I can ask Fred, why do they always show a goat? Like, what's the story with that? And then you gave me an answer. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Oh.
of course. I remember. It was the sacrificial goat. Okay, that's where this came from. This is actually several things compiled together to talk about the division between good and evil and light versus dark. If you look in the upper corner, you can see a crescent moon.
Yeah, I see it.
On here. And then if you
Yeah.
look on the bottom other diagonal, there's another crescent moon in dark.
Right, I got it.
If you look in the center of his head, that's where a pentagram is.
Yeah.
And then if you see on the, well, you can see it's got breasts like a woman.
Why is it a woman?
But wait a second. And then if you notice, it has kind of the physicality of a man.
I was going to say it looks like masculine arms, but
And face.
Exactly. And you know, we can't really zoom in too much and go too deep. But
well, I can make
like
it go.
he has tattoos.
Yeah, he's got tattoos on both arms. And this whole duality purpose is, have you ever seen the pendant? It's called a hand of God, where it looks like this, where it has two thumbs and in the center of the fingers.
No, I don't think I have.
It's an old symbol, and it's a it's
They make jewelry out of it. A
jewelry.
lot of people wear them. It's the hand of God.
And they call it that because it has a left hand and a right hand unified together. So there's two thumbs on each side. This is the same concept. It's man, it's woman, it's night, it's dark, it's light, it's dark. You know, like it's got all this duality. And that really what it was. It was the duality of choice. And the person who actually invented this design invented it in 1856. And the reason why I say he invented it is this was actually a clergyman. His name is written on the very, very bottom of it. And his last name, he changed his name to Levi. But
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, he actually was a priest. And right before he was supposed to go become a full-fledged priest, about a month before, he had a change of heart. He said, you know what? This isn't for me. I'm going to go completely the other direction. And now that I've been defrocked, I'm going to take a wife, I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to talk about Satanism because I realize that you know, I want my life to be completely different than the church. And he got a bunch of parishioners in his occult and created the Church of Satan. And that was there. And he claimed he saw this creature that was the devil. But what he really did is these are different evil deities pieced together from about 2,000 years of history. And he named it Devil, D''evil, like the spirit of evil. All of them together wrapped up in a big cauldron pot. Bamofet. He's the devil. So the concept of the devil was now born. And
In
56.
1856.
Yeah. Now,
That seems kind of recent to me.
it's extremely recent. It's extremely recent. For many, many centuries, they've talked about this concept of a devil, and now the unification with the star, the pentagram. The real story while we're here is up until the 5th century AD, the Roman Catholic Church actually used the pentagram in many of their buildings. And they would talk about the concept behind this. And we're going to go find this right here. Pardon me.
Sorry, we're new to all this.
Yeah, I know. It's all technical.
That's all right, guys. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank
And
you.
by the
All
way,
right.
oh, look at this.
Why is it backwards?
Well, it is for us so other people can see it.
Oh, okay.
It's right for I'm seeing it correct. Okay, so pentacles and pentagrams.
Right. A pentacle is a pentagram within a circle. Okay? They
Okay.
look the same. It just, the easiest way to remember it is it's pentagram and circle. pentacle. It's just a fused word together. But if you look at the 5-part pieces of how the symbol works together, the spirit, the circle, which is grand unification, holds all of it together. And that is Wiccan. This is the most profound Wiccan symbol there is. And I got to tell you, I've known many, and they're really great people.
They're not about the devil.
Yeah, it's not about the devil.
Explain to them that it's about nature.
Exactly. It is a spirit nature philosophy. Many don't even regard it as a religion because it's just a way, it's a path. And
using nature in its clean form.
In its purest form.
Purest form, not hurting nature.
So,
working.
Look at this.
What we're going to do now is we're going to say, where does the pentagram come from and the pentacle come from? It actually comes from our sister planet Venus. Venus has a very unique relationship with planet Earth. Can you believe that? I dug up my favorite map that is dated around 1860. And you know how everyone says that the moon surrounds the Earth? And yes, it does. But since Earth is constantly in an orbit around Sun, do you see how it actually weaves in and out of the Earth? Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying right here?
Yes,
Okay.
I absolutely do.
So it literally is weaving in and out. If we take that concept of weaving in and out, this weaving process works in other ways as well. This is another diagram that makes it all clear. In a series of 8 years, there are 5 points that coordinate between Venus and Earth. And this has been observed literally before recorded time. It has been called the Rose of Venus or the Pentacle of Venus. Or in Roman Catholicism, they call it Rosabella.
That's the thing on the bottom.
Correct.
That's the pattern that it's making.
That's exact. Well, so remember that map I just kind of pulled out and showed you?
Uh-huh.
It has several different diagrams of what people have thought and also proven the different theories of, does the Earth revolve around the sun, or does the sun revolve around the Earth? Well, for thousands of years, there was this big old debate. In fact, Copernicus wound up being stuck in jail for years for proving for a fact that Earth surrounds the sun. And it kind of blew apart the whole Catholic Church mantra, because for many, many years, the Rosabella was the actual argument as to why they thought Earth was the center of the spiritual atmosphere. Because if you look at the sophistication of that 5-petaled rose, that kind of shape that goes around Earth, when Venus is surrounding us and revolving around us, or so it was thought, that's the pattern and form that it made. Here's another beautiful image of it. If you were to look at the old version of the what's called the Ptolemaic map of the way, if the Earth would be the center of the universe, that little, see where the blue dot in the middle, the sun's the big yellow dot, and then Venus is the smaller white dot. Do you see that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay, so keep your eye on the prize. This is what it looks like when the sun is the center of the universe. So depending on what you would rather like, if you want to believe in the Rosabella, there's the Rosabella. If you want to believe in the Pentacle of Venus, then that's the way it is.
Meaning that Venus
Would
would
make
make this pattern instead.
exactly. And what's even more fascinating about this, remember, The ancient cultures of civilization were able to calculate this accurately before telescopes, before any of our modern inventions, which shows you how astute or maybe advanced they may be that we don't know of all their talent.
So this is Earth revolving around the sun.
Yeah,
So this is like the old theory right here.
that's the old theory. Now, here's where it gets interesting, kids. There's this guy named Pythagoras.
Oh, yeah, Steve's band had a song
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that.
The Pythagorean theorem.
Yes,
Pythagorean theorem. That's him?
that's him.
We wrote a song about that guy?
About that guy.
The Joy of Pi? What was that?
Yeah, well, pi r squared. That is, you see that circle?
No, Brad, I hate to correct you, but pi are round.
Yeah, with apples
Yeah, I know.
and peaches.
I could do some cobbler.
Or some maybe some pecan pie, I think.
So
No, I got it.
this image of Pythagoras was drawn around 1750 by a secret society called the Rosicrucians, which are related to the Freemasons. So if you're interested, I want to show you a couple of cool things about this image.
Well, I'm very interested, but let me just ask about a couple of things here,
Please.
because I see I guess it's a compass or something, whatever the Freemason thing is with the,
Yes.
with the square
Yeah.
and the compass, but then I see, for lack of a better word,
The
I see
Versace
the Versace stuff, which is
Rome.
actually the Roman, I forget what they call it. You'll know
Greek
what it's
key.
called.
The green
Greek
The
key.
green key.
Oh.
And I wonder if they ever tried to sue him. But I mean, that looks to me, and it's very funny because we just started watching a program on ancient Rome
Yeah,
last night.
last night.
Amazing program. So when was this picture done? In the 1700s, did you say?
1700s, but Pythagoras was around 5th to 6th century BC. And
BC.
What's interesting about this person, he's been credited to the common musical theory system today, which is called the Pythagorean fifth. If you look on the bottom corner, do you see how there's like a lute, a stringed instrument? On the
Yes,
corner?
I do. I see like a headstock and a tuning peg.
Right, because he was attributed for creating the musical scale system today based on the 5 bars. That's him. And the tonal scale, because he was obsessed with music, sound, producing sound, and quality sound, certain tonal notes that left the ear pleased. But what's more interesting on this is, do you see on his robe how there is like an embroiderment on there of a scalloped shell?
Yeah.
Yes, I see that.
Okay, so the next time you ever see, or if you're ever in a restaurant, I don't know when that's going to be with COVID, but
Or
if you a hotel or a napkin, you will often find the scallops to be all over the place. And the reason why is the scallop shell is the sign of hospitality.
Hospitality.
That's right, hospitality. Not like, oh, here, have a drink on a smile, but more like if you came to a home and you needed refuge, there were safe homes upon the Santiago Trail in Spain down to Israel. And it was this long trail of over 1,100, 1,200 miles. And people would go on this trail, and if they saw a scallop shell on their place of home worship, wherever, the travelers knew they could stop by and go for some hospitality. It's
And
where
they
the
were welcome to go.
welcome to go. It's where the term hospital comes from, and the Knights Hospitaller as well, which is also known as the Knights Templar, which all buries down to the fascination of mathematics, music, and all that comes with it.
And what does this have to do with the pentagram?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Colby.
I just
You know,
gotta keep them on track.
yeah, well, here's the answer in a simple word. He lived in the in the Isle of Roses, also known as Isle of Rose. Crotonia, which is a small island which was littered with 5-petaled ancient roses. Roses originally started out with 5 petals, and as over time have hybridized, mutated, and turned into magnificent creatures with multiple petals. But they started off like this. The 5. And this is what he would teach all of his students about understanding life, nature. 5 is the magic number. You can figure out many things, and pi, being this, is also based off of that formula mathematically of that. So the rose is essential to understand the pentagram.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was such a big deal that here is an image of Pythagoras' ring. And if you look at on the very top, obviously, of a pentagram. But if you notice around the pentacle on the outside rim of the ring, do you see how there's like some petals? Well, it looks like a little lip of a petal.
Yeah.
Pouch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, check this out. This is a modern interpretation of that ring. So when when you study that ring, do you see the letters that are all inside of here?
I do. A-I, looks like A-I-L, backwards Y-E.
V.
Yeah, V-S, A-J.
They're all the same because I don't have enough time to tell everyone what they mean, but that could be.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Go ahead. We can. Well, it's my.
No, really.
It's my show. It's my show. Just keep rolling.
Hold on. No. I don't want to look dumb. I gotta use my brain here.
They're all saying you look smart.
So if you notice, okay, because if you notice the top of the ring, okay, I want you to
It's
see.
a very pretty version.
It's a Rosabella. See that?
Yes, the outline of that
So people
center.
believe in Venus, the revolving around the Earth, right?
Well, they actually believe. Now, this is where it gets interesting because I always found it to be incredibly critical of the scientific community that once something is not accurate in the mind of accuracy, it's considered to be waste. The Earth-centric model, okay, the Earth-centric model causing this display, the Rosabella effect. It showed that Earth was the center of the spiritual energy that was going on in the universe, not the physical, rotational energy around the sun. So the concept that Earth is constantly being bombarded by the energistic forces that are influencing our world through astrology and many other vibrations still are in effect because we are in the center of that universe. We're still here. So it's one way to interpret it, and that's how many people interpret the astrological concept, that even though, yes, we understand that Earth is revolving around the sun, we're still absorbing that central energy that allows the Rosabella effect to still be, quote unquote, accurate to astrological analysis. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes, it does.
Maybe a little, but if it's not the way it really is it just a matter of people wanting to enjoy the feeling of that beautiful?
No, that's the way they understand it. It's
even though it doesn't actually work like that anymore. I mean, it never worked that
It
way.
never worked that
People
way.
thought it worked that way, but now what we realize, it makes the star, the 5-pointed star.
that feature's been around for as long as this ring was discovered, because it was discussed back in the 5th century BC.
Now I have a very important question.
Yes.
Is this ring available at Bradley's Jewelers?
Yeah, right. I'll tell you, I'll make you one. I can make you one, definitely.
Custom design by Bradley's.
Well,
Oh,
it
that's
doesn't
really new and exciting.
Well, the whole crazy question is how does this relate to music? Because like it gets off the rails quick with Pythagoras.
Well, so wait, Pythagoras
what's the
was Greek,
Yes,
500 A.D.
BC.
And
BC, as in Brad Congress.
That's
Right,
correct.
that's what I always said.
I tell you what, kids, I'm moving my desk to the front.
That's right.
I like it.
Rush 2112.
So when that album came out, that was significant. And if you notice the 5 points on there, they actually have it correctly notated with the small little rings on each point.
I see that.
That's the connective point between Earth and Venus.
Oh, so when you say the connective points, those are the places where Earth and Venus line up 5 times in the rotation?
Yes,
Okay.
And it takes 8 years to do this? Is that correct?
exactly.
It takes 8 years.
How many
Mayans
years?
also- 8 years. And the Mayans also counted this on their calendar as well.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, having studied some Asian philosophies, you understand the circle of 8 or the power of
Yes.
8. Yeah,
Yes.
so that's amazing. That's amazing. So, wow. So that's why Neil Peart had that on his bass drum?
So now, so Neil Peart having this on his bass. Let's take a look at that for a second. I found this gorgeous set online. I'm going to give it a full glory here. This is a gold trend drum kit, and it has, obviously you can see that pentacle in the center with the person kind of pushing away from it. And that is a really, the story behind 2112 is really cool. And Neil Peart was actually, the whole band, but Neil specifically, he was fascinated with, that 2112 could be that theoretical date that we do something incredibly stupid and end ourselves. And eventually there will be some people left over, and eventually what could be found is a guitar and someone learning how to play music and understanding that music, art, is the one thing that can free the soul from all that contains you. And it really is an incredible story. And I just love the imagery of Rush so very much because of it.
so it's not really a demonic symbol.
Absolutely not.
So
Absolutely not.
so let me ask a question then. And Angus, I'm sorry if you want to go once more around the aquarium. That's up to you.
Yeah.
Go to see World.
Why now is the star, right? The 5-pointed star that we associate with the flag, or you did good in school.
Right.
Why does that have the point at the top, and then the other one has the point at the bottom?
Like that one?
Like that one.
Okay. Well, the concept of duality of life from the very beginning picture of that Bamo fat creature that we showed. If you have good, you got to have bad. You got good, you got to have evil. Well, that pretty much the comedy and tragedy of life sums it up. We are bound by our choices, both good and bad. And if we choose bad ones, well, tragedy can fall. And that's what the blood drip is right there for, because terrible things happen when tragedy strikes. And it can be, an evil or bad or interpretive. But let me tell you, there's no group like Motley Crue to get the party going.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's true enough. And it's interesting. It's interesting that I would have never really picked up on the duality or the yin and yang of the point being on the top and the point being on the bottom. So my question is this.
Yeah.
Because we believe, or because we assume that the underworld is down the
Right.
world of darkness is down and the goodness of heaven is up. Is that why it points up and down?
Precisely.
Ah!
Precisely.
Ooh.
You nailed it, brother. You nailed it. Well, you had to be around rock long enough to figure it out.
Very good.
That's pretty
Wow.
cool, man. That's
Well, so now
That's-
I'm not going to be freaked out when I see that symbol anymore.
yeah, because I remember, I remember getting into the occult and I wasn't a practicing member, but I remember buying the book that everybody bought with the black
When you're
cover.
a teenager.
What was that? Was it Aleister Crowley's book, or what was the book of?
The Necronomicon, H.P.
May I-
Lovecraft.
No, it wasn't H.P. Lovecraft. It was
I don't know. I never.
it was like the Satanic Bible or something. My mother found it in my room. She almost jumped out the window.
Yeah,
But
I bet.
I mean, and the reason that I was drawn to that was not drawn to it. Everybody was talking about it, but it seemed very rock and roll to me. So, I thought I should know about it.
Well, it's renegade, and the fact is, at the end of the day, sometimes a rose is just a rose. It's a beautiful symbol, and if people choose to find the beauty in it, it's a good thing, because you know what? There's a lot of great music that doesn't have to scare you, and it doesn't have to be anything that it isn't.
Well, I like when music scares me. I mean, believe me, I wrote a song for for a children's program called Horror Rock, and it wound up being the theme song, and it's a very scary song. I remember I wrote it in 1985. Originally wrote the song in 1985, and I came home from the studio and I was playing it for Lori, and I said, "No, we have to listen to this in the car in the dark." Because we lived up in the mountains. We went outside, we got in the car, and let's do it in the dark. And it was like,
Right.
Scary.
I'll send you the original version of it.
I love it, definitely.
And then I wound up, when we did the Vampires TV show, it became the theme song. John Entwistle wrote the middle eight to it. And yeah, horror rock.
But
I love it.
Like Brad, when I was
Yeah.
in junior high, I went and spent the night with a girlfriend, and her older brother, this had to be in the 60s, early 70s, had Black Sabbath, and she said, "You want to hear something?" And she put on Iron Man, and I got so scared, but I got excited. It was like, wow! 'Cause I was listening to Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5, and then all of a sudden I'm listening to Iron Man, and it was like, whoa!
Now,
So,
now
yeah.
I'm going to tell you something interesting about Iron Man. Now, you were in the studio, well, virtually in my control room today, and I was showing you all the plugins and all the different things, right? So there is a thing, you could probably buy it now for a couple of bucks, that makes your voice sound like this, right?
Right.
But back in the days of Black Sabbath and there was no machines that did that. So what they did was they said very fast, "I am Iron Man," and then slowed the tape down.
Oh. Oh, why am I echoing?
Smart.
I'm echoing.
No, you're not. Are you? I
Yeah.
don't think. Well, whatever. So yeah, so there's, I mean, yeah, so that's why it goes, "I am
I love
Iron
it.
Man."
I
And
love
you
So
remember?
tell them what the wrap up is with the.
With the pentagram
Yeah.
or the pentacle.
Yeah.
It's a 5-pointed star. It can be anything you want it to be. And in rock, it's pretty awesome.
It is pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
It really is. It's awesome. It scares parents. I love it.
Well, now, Carrie Ash, one of our viewers and our friend, asked if that's what's on the Pink Floyd album. I thought that was Pyramids. On
No, that's a
Pink-
pyramid.
That's
Yeah,
it.
Okay.
that's the spectrum of light that breaks out into the different colors.
So,
Exactly.
Carrie.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, it's a good thing that it's called a star, because you wouldn't want to be a rock pentagram.
Exactly.
Right. You want to be a rock star.
Well, that was great.
That was awesome, you
Everybody learned
guys.
something. Everybody
Thank
said how
you.
interesting.
That was just,
how smart
man.
You are.
That was killer, bro. That's
You are
yeah.
the cherry on the top of this program.
Yeah, man. That's
Oh,
just.
thank you.
And I would have never. I tell you what. I it took me a minute to realize the where Venus and the Earth intersect, and then I see the dates going around it. So I see that's the 8-year sequence, I guess.
Yeah,
And so, wow, and is the defining intersection the sun? It would have to be the sun, right?
exactly. Exactly.
Wow,
Wow.
It's all math.
wow.
See,
No.
now my ruling
People
planet.
just choose to interpret things for their own benefit.
Yeah, and you know what's really cool about this symbol is, when we take it from, the very small and we enlarge it and we can see it on the macro scale. But remember, our sun is revolving around a larger circle. Everything is constantly in motion as we all go back to the circle in one form or the other, whether we feel it or not, whether we know it or not. And it's just this constant infinity of life. There's more to learn and do, and I can't wait till next week for your favorite animal, wolves and lichens.
Oh, my favorite. Right?
Werewolves.
Yeah.
We're getting closer
Yeah,
to Halloween.
the Wolfman and the Werewolf. They were, in fact, I will try to come up with my own image. We used to, in the band, we used to do a Halloween show, which only consisted of our bass player being carried out in the old kind of coffin, the old
Right.
Western kind.
yeah, the Western coffin or whatever it was. And then, of course, I had my Wolfman mask, which I will look for it. And it was he was my favorite monster because he scared me the most. Frankenstein, you could and run away because he's got those big shoes on and he doesn't cover very much ground.
Creature
Right,
from Black
just hook him
Lagoon.
up to. But the Wolfman, he was so fast. You see.
Right.
Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If we were out in the woods and a werewolf came, what would we do? We would try to run, right? And you
Well,
would tell me.
specifically, I would run quicker than you. That's
Exactly.
the first thing. I would run quicker than you.
That's all you got to do is run faster than me. Right. Exactly right. Wow, man. You guys, this is great.
Great.
This
Thank
is
you.
great.
What's happening, Angus?
How you doing? How you doing?
All right, man.
Ammo back.
It's all yours.
Nice to see you in the submarine.
Well, I'm sorry, Colby. What'd you say?
Nice to see him in the submarine. It looks great.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's beautiful down there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's about to back up into the barrier reef, but it's
I see
okay.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better be careful.
Every week with you guys on.
Yeah, this has been incredible. I mean, every week, man. It's
Yeah, it's good.
and it's interesting how it all really does relate to rock and roll. Well, I mean, they called rock and roll the devil's music, and I mean, that's
But the
which
pentagram
But-
doesn't have anything to do with it. The pentagon,
Right. Yeah, but no,
Although
well, that's
those
no.
evil people in there.
Well,
It
Pent
has
is
to do
five.
with the interpretation over the years.
And the intent.
Yeah, and the intent to make rock and roll stand out, or whatever, from something normal. So they use these symbols and they kind of scare people and they make them think whatever they think.
And what's nice is
There
they
you
didn't
go.
have to pay copyrights for anyone to use the imagery. It's been around for a long time. So it was brilliant.
Pythagoras isn't really claiming that anymore.
Right. He's good.
And the thing about the image of the girl, the goat girl man.
Yeah.
Ammo back.
Thank you.
The girl
Devil.
man devil.
Oh, look at
There he
you.
is.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it said that the devil was an angel who was cast out of heaven and
Yeah.
whatever it
Exactly.
was?
Yeah.
So that's where the wings, I guess, come from.
Yeah, I was
right?
just going to say, you picked up on that. I forgot to say, yes.
And the boobs.
And the
And the
boobs.
boobs.
Yeah. Talk about the devil. The devil's in the boobs. It's the boobs every
The
time.
boobs bring the devil out every time.
It'll get you.
I said, I'm going to say it.
No, that's incredible. And it looks to me like I don't even know what to call it, he or she, but it looks like they're sitting in a lotus.
Yes.
legs
Yeah.
crossed. And
Yeah.
what is the thing that looks like the doctor's symbol?
Yeah.
So that's the caduceus, and I have an entire show planned for
Okay,
that.
Okay.
I don't want
Go
to.
on
I don't.
there.
But yeah, that's the caduceus in the middle.
All right. Well, we'll have to wait for
What does
that.
that have to do with him or her or whatever?
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
You have to tune in next
Okay.
We
time.
will be seeing her again.
Well, you'll have to introduce us to the caduceus.
I like it when you rhyme.
It's a lyric thing, I guess.
I love it. All
Well,
right,
that's
guys.
What
We'll
a
see you next
fantastic show! This is just awesome, man.
Yeah.
Bravo!
Check
Bravo.
out that big brain on
Yeah.
Brad.
Love you.
Yeah.
Love you guys. You take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Hey, we
That
love
was
you too.
great.
Thank you, man. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Bravo! That was really excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was great.